Of course you would call me baby in front of everyone. What are you trying to do, ruin me? That was the first thought that flashed through my head, standing in the middle of a crowded cafe in downtown Chicago, while she smirked at me like she owned the world. And maybe in that moment she did. Her voice lingered, low and teasing, but the word hit me like 1,000 butterflies released inside my chest. I hated how much power she had over me. I hated it, but my cheeks burned with a blush I couldn't hide. And she knew. God, she knew. Her name was Harper. The kind of girl who could walk into a room and make everyone turn their heads without even trying. Leather jacket, sharp blue eyes, and a laugh that was both reckless and contagious. She was bold, fearless, the kind of person who broke rules just to remind herself that she could. And then there was me, Olivia, quiet, careful, the kind of girl who never drew attention to herself. I loved my books, my coffee, my little bubble where no one could hurt me. But Harper, she had a way of breaking into that bubble, tearing down my walls with just a look. That day at the cafe, she leaned over our table, her lips curling into that sly grin that could dismantle me in seconds. Relax, baby, she whispered just loud enough for me to hear, though I swore the entire cafe froze. It suits you. I rolled my eyes, pretending to be annoyed, but my heart was hammering so hard I was sure the table was shaking. People laughed nearby, the barista called out an order. Life went on as if nothing had happened, but for me, everything had changed. Because she had called me baby. And because a part of me, the part one had tried so hard to silence, loved it. The thing about Harper was that she didn't just say things for fun. She tested people. She pushed them to see how far they would go before breaking. And I had always prided myself on being unbreakable. But with her, every teasing word, every stolen glance, every brush of her hand against mine, I was falling apart, piece by piece. I met Harper at Columbia University. She was the girl who sat at the back of the lecture hall, chewing gum, doodling on her notebook, but still managing to answer the professor's most difficult questions. I admired her from afar until one night at a friend's party, she cornered me by the kitchen counter and said, "You've got the saddest eyes I've ever seen. Makes me want to ruin you and save you at the same time." Who says things like that? Harper did. And instead of running, I laughed. Maybe that was the first mistake. Over the weeks that followed, Harper became a storm in my life, messy, unpredictable, exhilarating. She teased me about everything. My messy bun, the way I sipped my coffee too carefully, my habit of biting my lip whenever I was nervous. But when she called me baby, in front of everyone, something deeper shifted. It wasn't just teasing anymore. It was intimate, possessive, terrifyingly real. I didn't want to admit it, but I was terrified of her. Terrified because she made me feel things I had buried for years. Terrified because she saw through me in ways no one else ever had. And maybe most of all terrified because I wanted her desperately. That night, when we walked out of the cafe, the city lights dancing across the wet pavement, she slid her hand into mine without asking. Just like that, as if it belonged there. And I let her. "Why do you always fight me?" she asked, her tone softer now, the playfulness gone. "Because you make everything complicated," I muttered, though my fingers tightened around hers. "And you like complicated," she shot back, a smile tugging at her lips. "Otherwise, you wouldn't be here with me." I hated that she was right. We stopped by the bridge, the river glowing with the reflection of neon lights. She turned to face me, her eyes no longer mischievous but raw, searching. "You think I'm just playing with you, don't you?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Maybe because that was exactly what I thought. Maybe because I didn't want to be another game for her. But before I could answer, she cupped my face in her hands, her thumbs brushing against my skin like I was something fragile, precious. "I'm not," she whispered. "I don't call just anyone baby." The world stopped, and for once I let it. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to so badly. But believing meant surrendering, and surrendering meant opening myself up to the kind of pain I had sworn never to feel again. When I was 17, I fell in love with a girl who left me the moment things got real. The scars of that betrayal still lived under my skin. So when Harper looked at me with that raw tenderness, I felt both desperate to trust her and terrified she'd destroy me in the same way. Maybe she sensed it, maybe she didn't. But Harper wasn't the type to let silence speak for her. She leaned closer on that bridge, her forehead nearly brushing mine, and murmured, "I'll prove it to you. Even if you keep pushing me away, I'll still be here." It should have been enough. It wasn't. The following weeks were war. Between my heart and my head, between the part of me that wanted to run into her arms and the part that screamed to run away. Harper kept calling me baby, in front of every me at coffee shops, at class, even at the library. Sometimes it made me laugh. Sometimes it made me furious. Always it made my heart pound like a drum. One afternoon, sitting on the campus lawn, I snapped at her. "Stop calling me that. You don't mean it." She tilted her head, pretending to be hurt, though her eyes held a flicker of something sharper. "What makes you think I don't? Because it's just a game to you. That's what you do, Harper. You play with people." Her smile faded. For once, she didn't have a comeback. She just stood, grabbed her bag, and walked away without another word. The silence she left behind was worse than her teasing. For days I didn't hear from her. No smirks, no texts, no sly baby. Whispered when no one else was listening. It was like she had vanished from my world, and only then did I realize how deeply she had carved herself into it. By the fourth night, I was restless, pacing in my apartment. I hated how empty everything felt without her. I hated that the sound of her laugh haunted my mind. I hated that I missed her more than I could stand. So I did the one thing I swore I wouldn't. I went to her. Her dorm room light was still on when I knocked. She opened the door, eyes wide with surprise. She was in sweatpants and an old t-shirt, her hair pulled back messily. Still, she was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. "Olivia?" she asked softly, as if saying my name might break me. I didn't give her time to question. I just blurted, "You win." "Okay. You win. I don't care if it's a game or nobody can't stop thinking about you. And it scares me. It scares me so much." Her expression melted into something I had never seen before, gentle, almost vulnerable. She stepped closer, closing the distance until I could feel the warmth of her body. "I don't want to win," she whispered. "I just want you." And then she kissed me. It wasn't the wild, teasing kiss I expected from her. It was soft, patient, as if she was giving me a choice to pull away. But I didn't. I couldn't. Every wall I had built around my heart crumbled in that moment, and all I could do was fall into her arms and let her hold me. For the first time in years, I didn't feel broken. I felt alive. From then on, things weren't suddenly perfect. We still fought. I still doubted. She still teased me endlessly, sometimes to the point where I wanted to scream. But there was something different in her eyes every time she called me baby. It wasn't just a joke. It was a promise. A reminder that she had chosen me. Weeks turned into months, and our love grew in the quiet ways that mattered most. She walked me home when it rained, even when she didn't have an umbrella. I stayed up with her the night before her big exam, quizzing her until she finally fell asleep with her head on my lap. She made me laugh when life felt too heavy. I reminded her that even storms could be weathered with someone by your side. One evening, back in that same cafe where it all began, Harper reached across the table and took my hand in front of everyone. No teasing this time, no smirk, just a steady look that made my chest ache. "You know," she said quietly, "I meant it the first time I called you baby. I'll mean it for the rest of my life." My throat tightened. The fear that had once kept me from her was gone, replaced by something I had longed for but never believed I deserved: safety, belonging, love. I squeezed her hand, a smile tugging at my lips. "Then stop teasing me so much." "Never," she laughed, eyes sparkling with that familiar mischief. "But I'll love you through every tease." And I believed her. Because sometimes love doesn't come the way you expect. Sometimes it crashes into your life like a storm, terrifying and uncontrollable. But if you're brave enough to stand in the rain, you find it was never meant to ruin you, it was meant to set you free. And all it took was one word: baby. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.